before we get to our bets, I know we're talking lines here. We're going to talk start 'em, sit 'em. Again, a segment that we are blazing hot in. Every single week, it seems like who we're calling start pops off, who we're calling sit puts up a dud. Obviously, this is sponsored by our friends at Did It. Fantastic app. Your trade deadlines around the corner. Fantasy playoffs are around the corner. If you want to chat one-on-one with fantasy experts like myself and many other people, brilliant minds use this app. Download it. First call is free. You can chat one-on-one, like legit FaceTime me. I can break down your team, give you some targets. We can send off a couple of trades together. We can build your roster for that championship push by downloading the Did It app. Again, first call's free, and this is going to start us up. You're going to go first in this segment. You're going to go with your start.
Yeah.
You let me know. I'll go start, sit, and we'll wrap it up.
All right, with my start, I'm going to talk about a guy who's just been blazing hot. And when you look at numbers like efficiency and explosiveness, that usually corresponds to an uptick in usage, which is all we care about in fantasy, especially at the running back position. And in a lifeless offense that is the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jaylen Warren continues to be the only player that makes plays. They're going up against the Bengals this week that, they're a little down after losing Joe Burrow. The Ravens kind of had their way with that defense on Thursday night. Put Jaylen Warren in your lineup. If you don't have him, trade for him, because this is a guy that's only going to continue to see more and more touches every week. Get him on your team, especially for the playoff push and even come playoff time. Jaylen Warren is my must start this week, sponsored by our friends over at Did It. Cat, who are you starting?
I'm going with Tank Dell. This is a guy that's flying. Like, gadget guy, call him what you want. He's putting up incredible numbers, and week in, week out, I got him on my teams, and he's willing me to a couple of my victories, so I might as well keep riding the hot hand here. And CJ Stroud and him seem to be building this very unique and cool connection they got down there, and he's an incredible route runner. I saw the clip on his touchdown this week, incredible catch, but the route was like, honestly, we might have to put a layover of it because it was like the greatest thing I've ever seen. The guy fell over, incredible catch. I'm going with Tank Dell. I'm rolling the hot hand. He's my must start this week. Who's your must sit?
I'm cheating. I had told everyone to start Najee Harris, or I told everyone to start Jaylen Warren. You better sit Najee Harris because this guy is going to lose touches. If you just pull up the box score, anyone can do this. This is free, accessible information. You type in Steelers versus Browns box score. You see what Najee Harris did with his touches. You see what Jaylen Warren did with his touches. So it seems like everyone can come to the conclusion that Jaylen Warren needs to get the ball more. The only person who isn't is Matt Canada, and that's the offense. But eventually he's going to come to his senses. Najee Harris is the type of player in fantasy where if he doesn't score a touchdown, which he doesn't get a lot of them, he's putting up 6-7 points.
Yeah,
it is very, very frustrating. I would sit him this week against the Bengals because I'm calling it the Jaylen Warren RB1 breakout week because that's what's going to happen. He was named the starter last week. This is the week where he transitions to just get way more touches than Najee Harris. Than Najee Harris. So that makes Najee Harris my must sit for week 12?
Week 12.
There you go.
Yeah, week 12.
Week 12.
Wow, week 12.
Crazy.
My sit, again, I don't want to call this sit. It's more so temper expectations because the player I'm about to say isn't someone that you can necessarily just sit because where you drafted him and what he's expected to do for your lineups, and that is Jamar Chase. I think it's going to take him a couple of weeks to build a rap and build a connection with Jake Browning. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to come right away. So I'm willing to temper expectations with Jamar Chase. Now, am I completely removing him from my lineups? No. Unless I got someone better, like Christian Kirk, maybe, like a guy like that in that sort of tier 3, tier 4 type of receiver. Maybe even Tank Dell. If I Tank Dell, maybe I consider starting him over Jamar Chase, or at least consider it. I'm going to temper my expectation with Jamar Chase this week. I think his ceiling is obviously capped with Joe Burrow being out for the season, but that pretty much wraps up our starts and sits.
I have a question for you, though, about Chase, though. Is it like... Because a lot of the times when it's someone who you can't necessarily sit them because they're so good, he's one of your best players on the team, I usually call it on the segment, I'll say trade him. is this someone that you would sell, or would you, I mean, if you think he's eventually going to get there with Jake Browning, are you buying low on Jamar Chase?
I think you're almost buying a little bit low. Like, I wouldn't sell Jamar Chase because I don't think you're going to get his value.
Yeah.
So at that point, you might as well just not sell him.
Yeah.
But again, if the right opportunity to buy low on him presents itself, maybe that's a chance for you to sort of get your foot in and take a chance. Like, if your team is good, if your team is pretty much locked up in the playoffs. Now, if you're fighting for a playoff spot, I wouldn't be going to trade for Jamar Chase. But if your team is got a two or 3 game lead on a playoff spot, maybe that's someone that I would trade for, right? To use for the playoffs. But again, I don't think he's going to necessarily make a big impact in the short term, but it's more a long-term play. I like how you brought that up.
All right. On to our locks, and of course, our last week's picks still aren't settled as we got a big Monday night showdown tonight. But I'm currently 12-9 on the season. My one pick that was settled last week was a Sunday night football game where the Pastronaut, he didn't win, but he covered the spread for me. You are 0-1 after taking another Thursday night game. When will you learn? But speaking of Thursday nighters, with it being Thanksgiving this week, we've added a little twist to the segment. We have to take a game that is a Thanksgiving special. So one of the 3 on Thanksgiving or the Black Friday game. And then we are also going to pick 2 on top of that. I believe you have the first pick this week, so go ahead and get started.
So I'm going to take the Cowboys. Again, big spread, I know, but this is, again, a juggernaut at home. We're talking 12 straight wins, and not to mention Dak's a perfect 5-0 in his career against the Commanders with 13 touchdown passes to 0 interceptions.
Wow.
And not only is this a team that's a juggernaut at home, they literally blow out every single team that they win against. Like 7-3. I have a stat here that's from Twitter, X, call it whatever you want. It's from @Jurist JT. I probably completely botched that, but this is Dak Prescott's final pass in their games won. So week 1 against the Giants, he threw his final pass of the game with 11 minutes and 42 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Week 2, he was removed from the game with 9 minutes and 18 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Week 4, he was removed with 8 minutes and 42 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Week 5, he was removed with 12 minutes and 58 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Week 8, 12 minutes and 19 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Week 10, he was removed in the third quarter.
Who did they play week 10?
With a minute left, the Giants, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And then
I had them in survival.
last week, he was removed from the game with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So the Cowboys have 7 wins and 7 blowouts.
So Cooper Rush is just the busiest. Like Cooper Rush. So
He's
you're
making
saying
money.
Your best bet in this one is Cooper Rush is over in passing
Honestly,
yards.
yeah, Cooper Rush
books are giving
anytime
it.
touchdown. If this trend continues to pop the way it's been popping, which, I mean, it can't get more clear than this. There's 7 wins on the season, and Dak has the furthest he's played into a win was this past week and there was 8 minutes left in the game. So yeah, I'm taking the Cowboys.
They won by 22 points and covered a big spread this week. I like it. You came ready with stats. You knocked out one of your Thanksgiving games right away. I'm going to keep it very simple and just roll with what is working. The Pastronaut, this guy is the best player to ever live and exist. I had him last week. I know they lost, but the team is rolling. They're one of the hottest teams. Even, throw out that loss of one of the hottest teams. There's 5-1 in their last 6. I'm going to take him -3.5 once again on primetime. Monday Night Football against the Bears. What do the Bears do best? They fumble in big moments. I don't think that they are going to keep it close enough in this game, and I think the Vikings are going to continue to roll. Give me them -3.5. Lock it in. That's pick number 1.
I'm going to take the Bills +3.5. Again, they're playing the Eagles. I don't know what the Eagles' Monday night situation is because this game still yet to be played. I'm sort of just going off the momentum here. Again, I think it's sort of a close game. I say it a lot on the podcast. It comes down to who's going to have the ball last. I think this is 2 good teams battling it out. High-powered offenses. I think it's going to come down to the wire. Give me Bills on the points. I don't know if they win outright, but I think they cover the 3-point spread.
All right, I don't mind it, but it wasn't going to be something that I was going to take. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens. They're playing the Los Angeles Chargers. I just talked about how the Chargers aren't going to make the playoffs. I think this is a game that sinks them to a new low. Listen, Justin Herbert is having a very good season on his own, but the surrounding pieces around him just aren't working. The coaching staff, This is a team that needs to tear everything down and start over. And I think this is a game where Jim Harbaugh just proves to everyone how he's just so... Did I say Jim Harbaugh? John Harbaugh proves to everyone that he's just such a better coach than Brandon Staley. They're 4.5-point favorites. They're 4-point favorites. I like the Ravens. I know they're on the road, but the Chargers aren't...
It's pretty much a home game for the Ravens.
They're not a good home team. So
yeah.
Give me the
not only are they not a good home team, they don't really get a home crowd.
There you go.
Right? Except for that person that's on ESPN, the super fan.
Oh, the lady that was yelling.
Yes, the yelling lady. But my final pick, I can't believe I'm taking this team. I actually can't believe it. But I'm going to take the New York Football Giants plus 3.5. I don't even think there's going to be 3 total points scored in this game, so I'm going to take 3.5.
Why don't you take oh my gosh, the over-under is 33.5.
No, I'm not even touching that. I can't.
So I don't know if I've ever seen... The other game I'm looking at with the over-under is 35.5, and that's Browns-Broncos.
I think this game is going to be so bad that I don't even think there's going to be a touchdown. But I genuinely don't think there's going to be a touchdown.
To me, that's the number one rule. When you got garbage versus garbage,
you take the under?
No, stay away.
No. Me?
How do you know which
I
bad team
create
is gonna
my
win?
own rules here. I'm taking the Giants, Danny DeVito, with a nice Italian meatball sub, just smashing it in New York for Thanksgiving weekend. The Giants, the New York Football Giants. They took me out of my survivor pool this week, New York Football Giants. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about that. So what you could do to repay me, you won't repay me on the potential money that I could have accumulated from winning, but at least you can, I'm going to go as far as at least you can help me go perfect this week, because that is what I'm doing. I'm going 3-0 this week.
That is wild. That is a wild pick. I got to pick a Thanksgiving game. I'm not going to lie. You took the Cowboys. The other ones kind of scare me a little bit. Maybe I go a little bit bold. The Packers got blown out. You know what? No, I'm going to take the 49ers. 49ers are minus 6.5. They're on the road. But this is a very, very good team. Geno Smith's got a swollen elbow. It's a short week. Kenneth Walker's hurt. The Seahawks just came off of what I'll call a disappointing loss. Not that I'm overly concerned about them making the playoffs or anything, but I just think that this is a week maybe they're not the most prepared for. I know they're at home, but I read some Geno Smith stuff today that I'm not all that into.
They're optimistic.
Yeah,
that whole play, but
I'm gonna take the 49ers minus 6.5. Like I said, I was looking at the Packers potentially covering against the Lions just because they were so bad at home against the Lions earlier this year. But you just don't know which Jordan Love you're going to get. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 49ers. Those are our picks, our best bets of the week, powered by our good friends over at PointsBet. If you sign up, make sure to use code BLITZ. And that is the show for today.